Hey guys, I'm Dimension Jump, and today I'll be reviewing Crash Bandicoot 3, which is, if you're playing on the one on the Insane Trilogy, is this one with Cortex on the end here. The original one was released in 1998 on the PlayStation, while the remastered version was part of the Insane Trilogy, which was released for the PlayStation 4. Now, the main plot of this game is that at the end of Crash 2, Cortex's ship basically crashes into this sort of old temple thing, and Uka, I think the name is either Uka or Aku, which is basically another mask, and I think it's the brother of the good mask. I think is Aku. I think I can't exactly remember, and basically both Uka and Cortex basically have this machine thing that can travel them throughout time, and it's basically up to Coco and Crash to basically go through all these different time periods to collect crystals before both Uka, Cortex, and their minions collect them first. And I think it's a good plot. I think it's like an interesting plot, even though it's slightly similar to the to Crash 2, because like with Crash 2, Cortex wanted Crash to collect crystals for him, and it's kind of similar in Crash 3 Warped, which is the full title of Crash 3, but you basically have to stop both, Uka and Cortex before they collect all the crystals first. So it's slightly similar-ish, but quite different in terms of the levels and the whole way you collect them, and in terms of story stuff. And the levels are quite interesting because in order to get to different levels, you basically have to press on these buttons, which allows you to go into the different ones within the game, and it's kind of similar to how you do it. You play the levels in Crash 2, in that you can play any of the levels in Crash 3 in any order you want. So you might go, like, let's say from 1 to 5, or 5 to 1, or 2, 4, 1, 3, 5, that sort of thing, and you basically go and play through each level in different sort of like time location things. So, for example, the first lot of levels are kind of based on these sort of like medieval type levels. Another set of levels are based on Egyptian. There's some like futuristic type levels, that sort of thing, and they are quite interesting. And there are some levels that I feel are quite repetitive. For instance, there's a Crash specific set of levels in which Crash has to basically go on this motorbike, and basically if you want to get the crystal, you have to go and do this race and try and get first place in order to get the crystal, which is nice, but it would have been nice if it was only in one level, and the other two levels that had the bike system in place were replaced with like two different levels that were based on the exact setting that the other levels in the specific area was based on. And the motorbike parts are okay, I guess, even though it does get a bit repetitive. It would have been nice to have one, and then just replace the two remaining other levels with different things. And yeah, and like with the other two Crash games, in which they bring in something new to the table, with Crash 1 being, this interesting, cool platformer thing where you basically destroy crates, that sort of thing. Crash 2 sort of like, polishing that sort of gameplay off. Then with Crash 3, you've got time trial relics to collect, in which, after you've beat a certain level, you basically get to do these time trials, and depending on how fast you get from the beginning to the end, you'll get a different relic. So, for example, let's say you get 30 seconds, let's say, at the end of a race, you might get a sapphire relic. Let's say if you get like 25 seconds, you get a silver relic, or I think it's a gold relic. And then let's say if you get 20 seconds in a particular level, you'll get the Platinum Relic. Now, those are just some examples of like some levels times, and they can be difficult to collect because you have to go super fast, get through the entire level, and try and get like the best time you can get. And like with my Crash 1 review, if you want to get the best possible time that you can get and try and get the Platinum Relic, I would say try and practice the time trials again and again, just so you can get the perfect time and then get just get through the level with muscle memory and with like memory that you of the level that you're playing, and just try and get all the timed boxes so you can get your time shaven off if you want to get like the Platinum Relic and that sort of thing. And also with the bosses, after you've beaten each one, you'll be given a different a power up. So for example, there's a power up that you can get that allows you to double jump. There's another one that can give you infinite spin, but only if you're if you press not circle. If you press X, no X, it's square. Yeah, finally we got there. If you press X, square multiple times. Did it again. Multiple times, then you just keep on spinning, and it is good for if you want to jump over large pits. For example, in one of the Egyptian levels, which is like one of the levels after you get the infinite spin attack, it's that there's like a path, a split pathway, and if you take the left one, there'll be a big pit. And then what I did was basically double jump and then spin, and then I was able to get to the other side. And they're really interesting. And now it's time for some gameplay. So the main gameplay of Crash is basically the same. So I'm just going to use this area just to show you some of the moves you can do. So you've got like your slide, which you could do in the second game. You've got your spin that you could do in the first game. You've got your jump, and then you've got the infinite spin. And you can do in this game. You can do the double jump, and also you can do this basically massive slam. And within each level, you can see the different levels you can do. And also, what I like about this game in particular over some of the other ones is that once you've collected every single crystal, you could basically the boss would appear, and somewhere in the middle between the 3 and the 4, and then you would go into the portal and fight the boss, and then I think that was quite interesting. And now I'm just going to quickly show you some level designs. So I might start with one of the first ones in this level, and then might show you a different one in one of the other levels. Just basically show you the difference between each level. So this game is really simple. It's basically like the other ones. You've got your boxes you get to break and that sort of thing. It's very very similar to the other two. But what I like about this game in terms of how each level is used is that within each area that you go to, a lot of the enemies are based on a particular theme. So basically, if you're in the medieval area, all the enemies are particularly medieval themed. So you've got enemies that might use swords or maces, maces, that sort of thing. And also the bonus level platforms are basically similar to the sort of area that you're in. So the one that I'm on is basically a sort of I would say medieval glass window or something. And the bonus levels, just like the rest of the level, are based on the specific theme that you're on. And like all the other bonus levels, there are a certain amount of boxes you can do, and this also follows the same principle as the second game, in which you basically go on a platform and basically go to a specific level, instead of like in Crash 1, where you basically have to collect 3 different tokens and then enter the bonus level. I just think it's nice and stuff like that. And now I'm going to show you a different level in the game. So this is one of the later levels in the game. This is like towards the end of the game, because this is like the techno area of the game, in which all the levels in this area are basically based on, you know, a sort of like technological version of the game, or technical level, in terms of like, you know, technology being a sort of main level usage or something like that. And you can clearly tell that the enemies in this level are very different to the levels in the other level that I showed you, because whereas the medieval level will have, like, you know, ghosts and knights and that sort of thing, this mainly has robots and scientists and that sort of thing, which I think is really nice and really interesting, and it's a good way to show you different enemies and show you how you can respond to each enemy and each level, and show you like how to like just try and beat each level, and try and beat each enemy depending on the level that you're on. And with the technical one, I do like the I think they're like possibly one of my favourite ones, because of how you basically play through each level. Because there's the conveyor belts, which basically go either forward or backwards, which I think is quite nice, because then you're either slowing down or going quite quickly, and you have to basically react to how you to those areas. And yeah, I think, you know, each level is really cool and interesting and very unique, and you can basically just use all of the advantages to your thing. And also you can use a bazooka, which there we go, I can fire Wumpa fruits. Okay, yeah, I think all the power-ups in the game are really nice, because they basically just give you a new way to basically just play through the game and just see how good you can go with the things. And there we go. Okay. And if I can, hang on. I wonder if the bazooka is good for long range attack. Can I hit this guy from over there? Nope. No, it can't. Okay. But it is good for short range sort of attacks. Ooh, and also in the technical levels, there are these flamethrower thingies, which I think is nice. Oh. So yeah, so I think the technical ones, or the futuristic levels, are probably the best ones in my opinion. And that's been it for the gameplay, and now it's time to go back to the review. So my final verdict for Crash 3 Warped, is that I think it's enjoyable. I don't think it's as good, in my opinion, as the other two games, because with Crash 1, I enjoyed a lot of the levels in that game, and then with Crash 2, I liked it how in each area that you visit, each area is drastically different. So, because like there's like, you know, your wood levels, your ice levels, your sort of like tech sort of levels, like kind of like the Cortex-y type levels. And then with Crash 3, there are some levels that do repeat themselves quite a bit. The motorcycle levels being an example of that. And it would have been nice if there was, like, you know, some more levels based on the specific area that Crash was in. But I do like the bosses. I think some of the bosses are quite nice, and I do enjoy them. And the bosses are probably a good example of the level of like how they represent each level. So, for example, with Dingo Dial, who's I think the second boss of the game, basically uses this sort of flamethrower gadget thing, and he basically just uses it to basically use it to like use fire and also rockets as well sometimes, and it can use it to basically destroy ice, and you can basically just hit him. And I think that's sort of an ingenious way of doing a boss battle. And also with the first boss, with Tiny Tiger, their boss is basically a Colosseum type area, and you basically have to hit Tiny, and then he'll unleash some lions, and you have to dodge the lions. And that's another good example of a boss fitting the sort of theme that you're in, depending on which area that you're in. And yeah, it's an enjoyable game. But I do enjoy the other two games overall. So that's been my review for Crash 3 Warped. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.